The sun had barely begun to rise over the jagged cliffs of Drakthar Valley when Kayla, a young dragon girl, shuffled along the rocky path. Her scales were dulled and patched in places, a testament to years of hardship and neglect. Her wings were small and frail, almost useless for flight, and her bright emerald eyes often went unnoticed by the other dragons of her clan. She had been abandoned at birth, a so-called imperfect dragon, and the whispers of ridicule still haunted her wherever she went. Kella's stomach growled. She hadn't eaten in over a day, and the meager berries she managed to forage barely kept her alive. But her heart carried a heavier weight than hunger-loneliness. The other dragons avoided her. Some outright scorned her. She had no friends, no mentor, and no one to care if she lived or died that morning. Kayla wandered farther than usual, beyond the familiar cliffs and into the human settlement that bordered the valley. Humans were not dragons' usual allies, and many dragons feared their strange ways. Yet Kayla, desperate for any connection, crept closer, hiding in the shadows of the marketplace. There, amidst the bustle of humans, she saw him, a young mantle, strong, with kind eyes and hands that moved with gentle precision, was helping an elderly vendor arrange crates of supplies. His laughter rang out as he jokingly lifted a crate far heavier than his size should allow. He wasn't just physically strong. There was a warmth in the way he moved, a light in his smile that seemed to touch everyone around him. Kayla felt something stir inside her. For the first time, she imagined a world where someone could look at her and not see a broken, useless creature, but a being worthy of care. Summoning every ounce of courage, she stepped forward. Her small claws scraped the stone, and the faint sound made the young man look up. Kella's heart pounded in her chest. Excuse me," she whispered, her voice trembling. The human blinked, clearly surprised. "Hello, I didn't see you there." Kayla hesitated. She had spent her life being rejected, so the human's polite tone made her feel dizzy with hope. She swallowed hard and looked down at her scuffed feet. "Could you give me a hug, please?" Her words were soft, almost fragile, like a leaf trembling in the wind. The young man's expression froze for a moment. A hug from a dragon. He had never encountered a dragon who asked for affection, and yet there was something in her voice, in her hesitant, quivering posture, that stirred something deep inside him. Compassion. Kella's scales shimmered faintly under the sunlight, highlighting her fragile frame. She looked like she could be swept away by the slightest breeze. Her eyes glistened, not with anger or pride, but with raw, desperate vulnerability. The young man took a cautious step forward. His hands shook slightly as he extended them, unsure how to embrace a creature so different from any human. Are you sure?" he asked gently. Kayla nodded, her tiny wings fluttering nervously. I've never had anyone care before." Something broke inside him. The world had been cruel to her, and yet here she was, reaching out with the simplest, purest request imaginable. He knelt down, careful not to frighten her, and opened his arms. Kella's eyes widened. She had never imagined a hug could be like this. The warmth, the sheer presence of someone willing to hold her, it was overwhelming. She flung her small arms around his waist, and for the first time in her life, she felt safe. The human wrapped his arms around her, his touch firm yet gentle. "You're not alone," he whispered. "You don't have to be alone anymore." Tears welled in Kella's eyes, hot and sudden. She tried to hold them back, but they fell anyway, sliding down her scaly cheeks. The human held her tighter, and the embrace became a shield against the loneliness. Against every harsh word she had ever heard, against every scar on her fragile wings. When they finally pulled apart, Kella's breathing was heavy, and her eyes were red. She looked at him in awe. "Why are you being so kind to me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He smiled softly, brushing a lock of her hair-like frill back from her face. "Because everyone deserves kindness, Kayla, even dragons like you, and sometimes being strong doesn't mean you have to face the world alone." Kella's heart swelled with something she hadn't felt before, hope. A small spark that maybe, just maybe, there were humans who could see her worth. She tilted her head, hesitating, before asking timidly, Would you stay with me for a while?" The human nodded without hesitation. "Of course, I'll stay as long as you want." Days turned into weeks, and their bond grew stronger. The human, whose name was Elias, taught her about the world beyond the valley, shared meals, stories, and laughter. He never judged her wings, her size, or the imperfections that others mocked. Kayla learned that strength was not about firepower or flight, but about having someone who believed in you. The other dragons noticed the change. Whispers that once filled the valley with derision now carried hints of awe. Kayla's courage grew. She stood taller, her wings lifted with pride. And she no longer hid when she walked through the cliffs. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson, Kayla perched on a high ledge with Elias by her side. She looked down at the valley, breathing in the cool air. "I never thought I'd feel happy," she admitted, her voice small but sincere. Elias smiled. "You deserve to be happy, and you will be, Kayla, not because the world has changed, but because you've allowed yourself to be seen." Tears shimmered in Kayla's eyes again, but this time they were tears of joy. She leaned against Elias, feeling the warmth of his presence. For the first time, the dragon girl who had once been scorned and lonely knew she was not just worthy of love, but capable of it too. And in that moment, the valley seemed less harsh, less lonely. The sun may rise and set, seasons may pass, and challenges may come, but Kayla knew she had found a strength deeper than fire or claws, the strength of connection, kindness, and the simple, transformative power of a hug. Asterisk.